Good afternoon. I'm David Matlock, Agency Head, Executive Director here at the Southwest Virginia Higher Education Center. I'd like to welcome you today to Techniques for Reading Instruction in a Virtual Environment. We're so excited that we can provide this instruction to you at no cost. We value what you do, and we especially care for the students that you serve. I'd like to give a special thank you to Penny and Brenda, the entire team at Virginia Tech, and all that they've done to help make this possible, as well as board member Dr. Keith Perigin, Bristol City Schools, for his leadership. We are a great place doing great things because of great people. And it's because of great partners like Virginia Tech that we can offer instruction free to you today. It's my pleasure now to introduce you to your instructor for the next 4 weeks, Dr. Heidi Messmer. Thank you. We look forward to serving you again.
Thank you for coming. This is exciting and strange, as I know your life is right now. So Nikki is going to help me out with things technical, and I am going to be watching the chat. So if some video isn't working or something's not working out, you'll know why. So let me get right to my presentation, and I'm really excited. So once again, my name is Heidi Ann Messmer, and I've been a Virginia Tech faculty member since 2007 and done lots of different things in Southwest Virginia. I know lots of you, so welcome back. I've done stuff in Buchanan and Grundy and done things at the Higher Ed Center, and some of you have been in our reading specialist courses. My area is beginning reading, and I have a book out called Letter Lessons and First Words, which I'll talk a little bit about next week. But Penny called me and asked me if I could help out and talk to you a little bit about techniques for beginning reading instruction in a virtual environment. And I have to tell you that my first reaction was, I'm not sure. Probably a lot like your reaction has been with everything that has been really kind of thrown at you, maybe in the last 4 weeks, maybe in the last days. I can't even imagine what it's been like. So I always like to kind of start out with something funny, and Jerry Brooks is one of my all-time favorites. And so I'm going to share this with you. This is a little 3-minute video, and it's just a reminder that we have to laugh and be kind to ourselves. And this is just what we might be seeing as we teach virtual kindergartners and first graders. You know what? I did not check to make sure that, can you hear that, Nikki?
I heard a little bit when it was first playing. It's a little low, but I can hear it.
Wow, that's
better.
How's the sound, Nikki?
It's a little low, a little bit hard to hear.
Okay, I am going to stop share. And what I'm going to do is share my screen and make sure I've enabled share computer. And I don't think I had, so now it's going to work properly. The setting I didn't hit. So give me a minute. And let's see, we'll do it this way.
For school, it's time for school, it's time for school right now.
Sound better?
That's a lot better.
Awesome. Okay, so you guys can laugh a little.
Now, let me see who's joining us today. Who is here? Boys and girls, it looks like everybody's here. Let me count by 5, 10, 15, 20. We're all here. We're all here. We're all here at school. Good job. Today, we're going to go right into our letter bags. Now, let's review what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we had the letter A. I see all your bags out there. Apple. We're looking for things that start with A. Susie, show us something you got. An apple. Yes, I showed you that. Okay, you're supposed to be doing something different. Okay, Stephanie, another apple. Okay, we don't want to use apple all the time. Okay, quit fixating on the apple. Anybody got something that's not apple? Okay, Marcus, Applebee's coupons. Okay, that's great. Okay, let's just move on from there. We got another letter today. Okay, remember, you're not supposed to be putting what I put in the letter bags. Okay, something different. But boys and girls, we got a special guest. That's right. We got a special guest that's going to introduce the b sound, because we are working on our B bag today. Oh, special guest, come on out and show us. Tell us about the letter B. B. I'm Batman. Why is everybody crying? Everybody sit down. Guys, it's just me, okay? Batman, it's me, I'm back. Okay, no Batman. No Batman, okay, I'm putting it away. Let's just work on our letter B. I'm gonna sit down. Okay, we're gonna look at letter B. Now, I got some b words in here, okay? Who can guess what they think it's gonna be? Davon. No, it's not an apple, okay? Yes, Billy, honey, beer. No, we're never going to put a beer in the bag. I tell you that every single day. Okay, let me see. This thing right here is something that a monkey eats. Okay, Nevaeh, honey, we all know about your name. The angels don't want you to keep saying that. Okay, something that a monkey eats. Marcus. No, not head lice, banana. Okay, this next thing is something that you throw outside, like with your dad. You go outside, you're throwing it with your dad. Billy, honey, no, it's not beer, it's a ball. You're not going to throw a beer. There's never going to be a beer in any of these bags. Okay, next, this is something that you might take to a picnic, something to a picnic. Janelle, no, it's not an apple. Quit saying apple. Quit saying beer. Baked beans. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to be drawing things that that start with the words. I had banana, baked beans, Batman. No, Batman's not coming back. Okay. Batman's not ball. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your crayons and you're going to draw. You're going to draw with your crayons things that start with the letter B, okay? What are you going to draw? Yes, Davon? No, you're not going to draw beer, okay? We're going to take a break, okay?
So I hope that made you laugh. I can't see you out there in Zoom land, but he always makes me laugh. So hoping that that made you laugh. Because we need lots of laughs right now. So one of the things I want to just share with you is that I actually had this experience myself of having to try to figure out how to teach digitally. It actually happened this summer, and I had to teach a methods class for pre-service teachers, and I had all kinds of terrible thoughts about that. And basically, I realized I just had to take the first step. And once I took that first step, things went a lot better. So I think you just have to kind of, no matter where you are, know that you can do it, and know that if you're a professional educator, you can teach with a stick in the sand. What makes you a professional educator is what you have in your head and your heart. And that intelligence and that passion and that will is what is going to power you through. And what you will find is that once you kind of start into it, you will get a lot more excited about doing things than you really thought. So today, we're starting on 1 of 4 sessions. The first one is going to be engagement, management, and rapport building. We know that there is nothing that can be accomplished in any instructional setting without making sure that kids know the routines of a classroom, they know the rules, they feel safe, they feel like they know what's going on, because children don't have a lot of control over their environments. And so as teachers, we need to give that to them. And just as you teach kids what to do when their pencil is broken in their classroom, or how to go to the bathroom, or how to walk to specials, you have to do that a little differently in an online environment. So I'm going to share some stuff. Next Monday, we're going to do phonics. Next Tuesday, sorry, we're going to do phonics and phonological awareness. That is my area of expertise, and there's all kinds of really cool stuff out there to teach virtual online phonics and phonological awareness. The third session, I'm going to focus on virtual oral reading for assessment, instruction, and celebration sharing. One of the things that I started to think about when we started to talk about virtual instruction was, how are we going to read orally with kids? Like, how are we going to learn what their reading level is? Or how will we give them instruction and feedback when they need help as they're reading orally and they need to learn how to read accurately? And so I'm going to share some techniques for doing oral reading. And then the last session is going to be your choice, and we'll survey you. Nikki, you'll help me to find out things that you want to know about. So this is a little tasting plate. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and they give you a little tasting plate of several different things? That is exactly kind of what I'm offering here. I am offering you a little taste of a lot of different things that are out there, hoping that it will ignite your interest. I am not really a huge expert in virtual learning, but I'm a person who is learning. And you know what? Teachers actually frequently really do love learning, and it becomes stimulating and exciting. And so what I'm hoping is that I will ignite your interest, and I might send you in a different direction, or you might meet somebody or explore something that you wouldn't have already been able to do on your own. This is the way I envision this series. I am like Glinda, the Good Witch. I'm over here, and you are Dorothy, and you have on those ruby slippers. Now, if you remember in The Wizard of Oz, what Glinda said to Dorothy when she had those slippers on at the very beginning of her journey was that those are very powerful slippers. Don't ever take them off. She wouldn't want them, meaning the Wicked Witch wouldn't want them if she knew if they weren't powerful. Glinda reminded Dorothy that she really had the power, and that is the actual truth. You really have the knowledge. It's teachers who are going to innovate and figure this out and are going to take us places we've never been. I'm here to help you get those ruby slippers polished up, to remind you that you have them, and to explain to you that really what I'm doing is giving you a tasting menu and kind of starting you on a journey. So each week, I will do some research and some behind the scenes work. You're out there doing the hard work of teaching kids virtually or in hybrid situations. I'm going to be the one who gets to do that work and research. I'll model some techniques for you. I'll share some apps and some websites. There are way too many apps and websites out there to cover them all, but fortunately, I can give you a taste of a few things. I'll create a space for you to connect with your peers and talk with each other, because quite honestly, that is very, very powerful. In that time, you can share just even simple things that you've figured out. And then each week, I'll challenge you to try something in your own classroom, to give it a shot, and then share it when you come back to our space where we share. And again, I'm kind of Glinda, you're Dorothy, and you already have those ruby slippers on. Today, I'm going to talk about the basics of synchronous and asynchronous instruction. Synchronous being what we're doing now, virtual instruction that happens where we're both engaging at the same time. Asynchronous instruction is where I, as a teacher, would give you an assignment, like try this out, and you do it at a different time. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to do rapport building on virtual platforms, how to think about expectations and rules, how to enhance students' engagement, other tips and tricks, and then we'll break out for a little bit at the very end. Okay, so I'm going to look in the chat right now, and I want you to think about for just a minute, when you would do asynchronous instruction, not asynchronous, sorry. When would you use synchronous instruction, okay? So synchronous is when you're working with young children and you want to have them all in front of their Zoom or Google Meets at the same time, and you want to teach them directly, I'm watching that chat right now. Why would you do that? What would be your purposes for synchronous instruction with young kids? And let me chat. Okay, so I hope that's generated some of these same ideas. Really, when we think about virtual instruction, it has two parts. Synchronous stuff that we do at the same time like we're doing, and asynchronous stuff that kids do on their own. In my opinion, you're going to have a lot more that the children are doing offline asynchronously. They might be doing that in an app or a computer program that you're providing. They might be reading with their parents or doing exercises and activities. But a lot of what they're doing is going to be the kind of stuff that they would do during a center at school or during seat work. They don't sit with you all day long with you directly teaching. There's a lot of practice and reinforcement that goes on. So you're going to spend, the kids are going to spend more time doing this asynchronous kind of work. It's going to give them opportunity to practice, to do in-depth work, and to really focus. When you work with the kids directly and synchronously, you want to be really selective about what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're using the synchronous platform for things that you couldn't otherwise do asynchronously. So I think you need to use the synchronous platform for connecting with kids, right? Building rapport, letting them talk to each other in breakout rooms, letting them talk to you. Trying to do those kinds of things that build rapport. And I'll give you a little secret. I teach classes at Virginia Tech, and I have a class that has mostly asynchronous components, and I require my students to come once a week to a meeting just like this because I want them to build relationship. I want them to know that somebody from Virginia Tech cares about them. I want them to be able to talk to each other. I just want them to be able to connect. You want to use synchronous for teaching, when you have to give feedback, when you want to assess. Sorry about that extra S there. I think for young children, it's really optimal for small groups. If you're really trying to instruct, I would say small groups in synchronous. And I would say try to keep it 20 to 30 minute units. I think it's really hard to keep kids much longer than that. Let's face it, even adults have a hard time. Okay. So let's think a little bit about rapport building. Okay, rapport building in a virtual environment is harder. You have to be more interesting, more colorful, more expressive. And actually, primary teachers are pretty good at this. You just have to do things slightly differently and be a little more than you would usually be. I'm going to share this video. This is from VIP Kids. So VIP Kids is actually a company that teaches English to mostly Chinese kids, and they teach young children. But one of the things that's really interesting about VIP Kids is they've really perfected techniques for being dynamic and interesting for young children on a digital platform. So this is a teacher's introduction. And what I want you to do as you watch this is I want you to think about the things she's done to make this more engaging to a young child. And if you're sitting with somebody, talk to them about that.
Hello, my name is Teacher Erica. I am so excited to get to teach your students through VIP Kid. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from Houston, Texas, which is in the southern part of the United States. We are pretty famous for our cowboy hats you greet people. Howdy, y'all. But maybe my favorite part about teaching for VIP Kid is getting to use so many stuffed animal friends. I have quite the collection. I have turtles, dogs, bears, tigers, reindeer, frogs.
So you kind of get the idea there. She had a nice background. She was animated. She kept things lively. You'll also notice that she spoke a little bit slower and she paused between things that she said. It's easy to get nervous in front of a camera. Just remember to do that when you're working with your kids. Here's another real fun technique to use. I'm hoping that you all have heard of FlipGrid. FlipGrid is a very easy to use platform where kids record. So they would do this asynchronously. You would give them this assignment and they would do this asynchronously, and they would record something and then they can see what they've recorded and then you can see it in the other kids. So this is a little getting to know your activity, and we'll point to it in just a minute. So if you have a cell phone out, go ahead and pull your cell phone out because we're going to do this in just a minute, and you're going to record a little hello video. So what I would say to kids is, I want you, after we get off Zoom, to find 5 or 6 items. You could put them in a brown paper bag that tell us about yourself, and I want you to use them to record a video. So this is my video that I recorded, and you can kind of see what that looks like. And it's hokey for sure.
Hi, this is Heidi Ann Mesmer, and I have some items that I'm going to use to tell you about myself. First, I have this race number. I like to run in races, and I've done half marathons and 5Ks, and the most recent 5K I did was a virtual 5K that was done all across the country during the pandemic.
So just to let you know, the app does have a mirror feature when you're using printed materials. I didn't use it, obviously, but it'll turn your numbers and letters around so that they're going the right way.
June. I'm also learning to read more, and the book I'm reading right now is called The Splendid and the Vile, and it is about Winston Churchill's prime ministership at the very beginning of his prime ministership in 1940 to 1941, and it was when the Nazis were bombing Britain. I'm not typically a nonfiction reader, so it's really interesting that I'm getting into this, but I'm really riveted. And I've started in the morning, instead of spending too much time on my phone, starting my day with reading, and it's calmed me down a lot. I'm married, and this is a picture of my husband and I when we were in our first year of marriage. We were living on the eastern shore of Virginia and Maryland, and there was a lot of snow. We've been married for 25 years, and we went out to dinner with our masks on and celebrated in lieu of a trip to Scotland that we had planned. This next item is a shirt. James Madison University. My son is 20 years old and he is a junior at James Madison. Super proud of him. He's an honors student in the business college, and fortunately he is at James Madison right now. He has an off-campus apartment, yay, and he can live his life and be successful there and game until 4 a.m. in the morning if he so chooses without keeping us all up. And my last 2 items, this is a Canadian flag, and this is a point shoe. My daughter is 18, and she has just begun her professional ballet career as an apprentice with the National Ballet of Canada. She lives in Toronto and is paid and has health insurance, and we are really praying that we'll get to see her for Christmas. So that's just a little bit about me. Thanks.
Okay, so now what I'm going to ask you to do with your device, and we're going to hope that this works, and I want you to point your camera at this SKU, take a picture, and it should send you to FlipGrid. When you get to FlipGrid, you are just going to click and record. Oops, sorry. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Nikki, is that working? Can somebody give me a little?
I'm downloading a QR code scanner right now so I can try it out.
You should just be able to use your camera. You should be able to just use your camera, and then it will send you to the URL. If you point your camera, if you have an iPhone, it should be able to just use your camera. It's working. So Molly, go ahead and record something. Pick something up. Record. Hi, my name is Molly Perry, and I'm holding a pencil. This is my favorite pencil. Hi. Anybody else this is working? Yeah, it will. It'll be offline. Okay, let me show you, while you're doing that, let me just show you how I did this right here, right now, because that will show you how really super easy this is. Watch this. FlipGrid. I'm going to go to FlipGrid. Now, you can do an educator sign up for free. I'm going to log in. Okay, so here's my account. What you do is you create a group first. So I'm going to create a group that's called Practice. And you can see it creates a join code for that group. Then what you do is you add your students. If your students all have to have Google, you can just do it this way, and then they sign in with their Google school email. If not, you just add your students' names like this, pretty easy, and you create a username for them, right? So once you've got your group all figured out, might take about 10 minutes for you to add them all. I always skip this duplicate topics. That's my group. Then I go to my group, and in order to let my kids video record, all I do is add a topic. And I just say, getting to know you video, and I'll type a description here. I misspelled that. I just am trying to go fast to show you. I always keep it around 3 minutes. You could have them do fluency, all kinds of things. I create the topic, and then this, I could copy this code, and this is a way for them to go to it and record, or I could use this, share this QR code. You can either download it or right click. And then once I do that, it will send my students directly to that topic. So that's an easy way to do getting to know you. All right, and yeah. One of the things we have to figure out when we're working with young children always is, what are our expectations, our rules and routines? And when we start teaching, we always have things like, you know, how do I come into the room? What do I do? How do I start my day? In a virtual classroom, kids still have to know, how do I come into the classroom? What can I do in the classroom? What do I do while I wait? How do I participate? And so we're going to talk a little bit about how that happens. I am going to use another really cool tool to show you just another app that you can use. It's called Classroom Screen. And what we're going to be doing is brainstorming different important expectations. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it right here in front of you so you can see how flipping easy it is, right? So I'm going to open a browser here. I'm going to go classroomscreen.com. Look at this. I launch it. And here's what comes up. It's essentially like a whiteboard, okay? And it allows you to just teach like a blackboard or a whiteboard or a smart board. Down here at the bottom are a series of different tools that you can use. To the far left is the background, and you can change the background. They have all kinds of different ones. I've preloaded some photos of fall kind of themes, and so I'm going to make my background apple picking. And it's going to, when I select that, have my apple picking. Then if you want to play a game, you can roll dice. This tells you if your sound level is too high or too low, and it gives you a little ding if you're too high. So I haven't, there I was way too high, but it'll tell you if you're too high or too low. And you can just X these tools out. It's going to give you a little drawing tool, which is really cool if you want to show kids how to draw something. Here's a little pen. I could draw an apple. I have not mastered the skill of drawing with a touchpad online, but you might have. But you can always X that out. It has a little stoplight, and I'm going to use that in just a minute. It has a timer. This is really cool if you're doing like kindergarten and you want to do a like morning meeting, and you're going to do the days, you know, what day is it? You can put your calendar right in the middle, and you can usually make these a little bit bigger. This one doesn't seem to be working. But you can do all kinds of things with that. You can, and you can even, you know, draw on it if you want. And then there's also a clock that's kind of lets you know, this is set on European time. You just press the little, I couldn't figure that out. There's a little thing that says 12 here, and you change it, and it changes to the 12 hour. So we're going to do a little brainstorming here, and I'm going to use another classroom screen that I set up. All right, so one of the things that I'm going to use is something called Random Name. And Random Name is a really great tool to use when you want to avoid that situation where the same kid is answering all the time. And when I taught online this summer, I would, and this is probably more with older kids, but I would actually call on people randomly throughout the class, but I would ask them to bring prepared material to class so that they were never really put on the spot. Okay, so I have a couple of different names that I've loaded in my list here. And I don't know if they're even all here. I saw Connie. Is Teresa Pelletier here, Bridget Easterling, Amanda Blevins, Kim Parsons? I just randomly loaded these, so I'm going to look in the chat to see if those people are here because I'm going to randomly call on them. Are those folks here? The app is called classroomscreen.com. Okay, so Bridget's here. Okay, I'm going to add some of those folks I see in the chat. I'm going to add you instead of those other people because I know people get busy. So Sonia Gilly, I'm going to put you in my random selector. Be ready to be called on. Virginia, I'm going to put you in my random selector. Gail Skeens, I'm going to put you in. And I'm just, you know, I can't type too fast. So I'm going to put you in my my random selector, and we're going I'm going to do some direct teaching here. I'm pushing my computer too hard. So did you see that, guys? It's called classroomscreen.com. Classroomscreen.com. There it is, everybody. All right. So what I'm going to do, what I want everybody to think about right now is I want them to think about this question as I load these names. The question is, what types of rules do you need to have in a virtual environment? So think about that. And I am going to call on, if you were in my class, obviously, I would have everybody's name here, and I would have this on a cut and paste document. For right now, I just have these 4 names, Bridget Easterling, Sonia Gilly, Virginia, and Gail Skeens. So I'm going to use my stoplight. If you're not in this group of students, you can get your answer. Right now, think, what types of rules do you need to have in a virtual environment? When that red hand gets to the 3, I'm going to ask you to be ready with an answer. Five seconds. Okay, everybody's going to be ready with an answer. I'm going to choose one person to open up their mic and share with us, and then I'll choose another person. Virginia. Unmute your mic and share with us. What types of rules do people need to have in a virtual environment?
Rules of how to mute when the teacher is talking.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to select another person. Virginia.
Yes.
What types of rules do you need to have in a virtual environment?
Rules of having eyes on me and eyes on you.
Good one. All right. Now, I'm going to choose one more person. Bridget.
Raise your hand before speaking.
Good. All right. So that's just a little demo, what we were doing, and I'll go back into the PowerPoint. But what that was, did everybody catch that? It's we're gonna give you the PowerPoint. This is called classroomscreen.org, and you can see you can just set it up like that right there. It's so easy. Okay. So I'm going to share with you some additional things to think about. No doubt you're going to enhance and really develop this list. First of all, let's think about expectations of coming to class. Be on time. Now, obviously, we know that this is partially something you need to do with your parents. And I would suggest that you set up a parent office hour time. Right now, it should be almost on a daily basis. You should have a time that either your phone or your computer and your classroom, your virtual classroom are open, and make it the same, make it like, I would say, 4 to 5 most days. But being on time, you teach the kids the time, and they know that at 9 o'clock they're supposed to be in front of their computer. Be on time. Be dressed. Now, I know, in clothes. Actually, this is one I have to use with my students, right? I have to say, what is it that's appropriate to come to class in? Any of that would be fine to be in my class with, but don't come, in my students' situation, don't come with a, bunch of pajamas on, or, looking like you've just completely rolled out of bed. And I prefer that students not sit in their bed, but I can't really control that. But be dressed. Act like you are in school. So one way to talk to kids about virtual school is it's like real school. And if it's not something you're allowed to do in real school, when we're on a synchronous meeting, You're not supposed to have toys out or food or stickers. Now, you don't, as a teacher, have a lot of control over that, obviously. And one of the things I think that's important for us all to remember about this virtual schooling is that we can do the best that we can do with this for what it is. Meaning that we can't craft this into what we know to be high quality, face-to-face, interactive, professional education, but we can do virtual professional education as best we can. So we want to tell kids, you know, if you couldn't do it at circle time in kindergarten, you really shouldn't be doing it when we're doing virtual meetings. And if you keep those virtual meetings to 20 to 30 minutes, you could do them even throughout the day. It's not a lot to ask a child to put that down for 20 minutes as you would in circle time. You could set an expectation about entering the classroom. When you enter my classroom, I'm going to say, "Hi, Nate," and you're going to say, "Hi, Mrs. Mesmer," and you're going to wave back. So that there's this formality that you've come into a classroom, you are now in the classroom, and we're kind of in a professional environment. You might even say, "I'll just chat to you, 'Hi, Nate,' and you'll chat hello back." I like the idea of waving and smiling at the kids and just letting them know you know they're there as you would in a classroom. It's useful to tell the kids to mute their mic. You really kind of have to teach them that. Otherwise, we're going to hear dogs, and we're going to hear moms yelling, and we're going to hear husbands, and we're going to hear all kinds of things. One thing to think about is, what are they supposed to do while they're waiting for everybody else to come into the classroom? You and I know that this is a big problem. If kids have to wait and get in trouble, you've missed your calling. So have something for them to do. I am a super big fan of dry erase boards. I think in virtual learning, this is one of the best things for kids to have. It doesn't require an app. It doesn't require an adult. And so tell them to bring a dry erase board and ask them to write a message that they can share when you start your morning meeting. If you're going to let them to use the chat, let them chat with their friends. You could have high frequency words scrolling, you know, flashing. And as they come in, they just practice reading those. Or you could have a song that you're singing. I heard somebody in the comments that you sent say, "I love singing with my kids and I don't want to give it up." Don't give up singing. For God's sake, don't give up singing. They need singing more now than they ever did, right? And they need your shiny face singing too. If you are going to sing, though, stand up, put a nice background beside yourself, and really make it as if you were in the classroom singing, and tell them to stand up and move. During class, ask the kids to stay in one place and preferably ask them to sit down somewhere, just like they would in school. Okay, here we go, oversharing and video etiquette. You got to be real careful. Obviously, if it's not something you would be doing in the middle of circle time, you don't take the video into the bathroom. You don't have the video rolling if people aren't dressed. Anything that would not be okay in the middle of your classroom, your mama telling you to put your dishes away. If it's not going to happen in the middle of the regular classroom, it shouldn't be happening on virtual school. What I heard that many of the school systems are doing is that video conferencing is always the family's choice. So children are allowed to turn off their videos whenever they need to, because we just don't know what could be going on, and we certainly don't want to expose a whole group of young children to anything that could be happening in some of these homes. Ask your principal about videos. Make sure you, a lot of people are printing up icons, microphone off, microphone on, and they're holding them up for the kids. Young children basically are going to cue to you. So I think it's best to have those physically made up, and you can hold them up on popsicle sticks. I like this one, get help, meaning, you know, you're having problems with your internet. This is internet strength is probably a problem. Use hand signals again, and this would only work if you can actually see all your kids and you're in a small group. Thumbs up, thumbs down. This little guy has his fingers in his ears because the noise, it's too loud. This is, I can't hear you. It's easier with young children in a small group to use something that they're going to look at you with. Engagement. There are lots of digital tools for engaging. One thing you can do is just use the chat feature. So I'll ask you right now to use the chat feature. Today's weather is and you would chat 1, 2, 3, or 4 for the picture that matches the weather. And again, you could do this on classroomscreen.org. You could also just say, show me with your fingers. You could say, you know, hold up the number that goes with how the weather is. This is a great thing to use. This is polls, and Zoom and a lot of the other places have polls too. Again, I am running out of time here, so I'm not going to use this, but you can try it when we get it back. You should be able to just catch this with your camera, and then it'll send you to a little poll, which is, what are your favorite fall drinks? But again, let me just show you how easy it is. Literally, it's called Mentimeter. You go right on there and you built it. I did it in about 5 minutes. All right, I want to get you some time to chat. Again, you can use dry erase boards to get kids to respond. I'm a big fan there. This is another, this is a quizzing option. Let's honestly try this. What I'm showing you is, again, I did this in a very small amount of time. I built this quiz. This is a free app. I need to go to my instructor dashboard. And what I'm going to do is I've built this really simple little quiz here. And go to my library. And what I'm going to do, oh, it's asking me to log in, so. And I'm going to log in with my Virginia Tech ID. But this is another cool little thing you can use. It's a quizzing app. Make sure, I'm really nervous. All right, let me see here. Okay, sorry, here's my instructor board. This is called Quizmo, and I'm going to launch a little. All right, this is not cooperating with me, but I'm running out of time anyway. So we'll try this next week, but it's very, very easy. Again, it's free. The kids would go to joinmyquiz.com. They use this code, and then they can take a quiz online. You can use the random student selectors to create more engagement. You could use hand signals. I'm going to point to a picture. See this picture? There's a lot of water and it is collected up on the top of glass. Do you see the water is collected up on the top of the glass? Would we call this condensation? Thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm pointing to steam coming out. Would we call this condensation? Once it collected, we would, but right now it's evaporation. All right. A couple of other little things, and then we'll see if we can have a little time for breakout. Other tips and tricks, try to design an engaging background. Sorry, I don't have one, I ran out of time. Make sure you post your schedule. You can see that this schedule is a really great one for kindergartners. You can see it's a mixture of online time with the teacher, and she has the picture of the teacher there with app work. So you can see exactly what I said about how basically kids are not virtually online with you all the time, right? This is a language arts, this is not for kids, but it would be something that teachers would think about. So you might design your language arts block to have like 20 minutes with your whole group, where you maybe do a read aloud or interactive writing, or you do a morning meeting, and then the kids would move through either doing an app or software, doing journal writing and reading, and then working with you. So you could create a little schedule where they come into a small group, and then at the end of this, you would have office hours. All right, here's some more schedules. These are all over Teachers Pay Teachers. Okay, so I would love for you, we are going to email you the PowerPoint. Next week, we're going to ask you to try something. if it's an idea you've seen here or something you want to share yourself, try one of these things. And then when we start the sessions, I think what we'll try to do is start in the breakout groups so that you can try some of these things, and bring a dry erase board with you, because we're going to work on phonics and phonological awareness. What we're going to try right now is we are going to do some breakout groups. We want to put you into breakout groups. And I think, sorry, I'm trying to monitor the chat, but I can't see it. So I want to see if we could put you into breakout groups. So if you have an A through M in your name, you're going to go into that meeting. Now, right now, you're just going to be sitting and waiting in the waiting room because I can't let you in. But we want to have you have a chance to talk to each other. And if you have an N through Z, you're going to go to this this Zoom, okay? So A through M, you can see in the chat, click onto that Zoom link, and N through Z, click on the chat, and we will let you break out into groups and talk to each other.